Thursday Night Thunder, as it is Bristol Motor Speedway on a Thursday night for the Truck Series, just as it was in real life just a couple of weeks ago. But tonight it is on NASCAR 07, and it is the running of the O'Reilly 200. 200 lap race here. We know how quick this race is going to be based off of how quick this race was in real life a couple of weeks ago, and I think the video game will maybe accelerate that a little bit. We have had very quick races on the short track races all the way through the week, so definitely going to have an emphasis on qualifying. I have not qualified yet. I will be doing that on the stream, so you'll get to see that, as well as the race itself. So be sure to hit the like button down below if you haven't. Thanks for tuning in here again, and I will get into this one. So Ted Musgrave comes in with a pretty massive points lead. Bo Phillips, who was second in points, only 61 back going into last night's race at the Dodge Raceway Stadium track. He did not start in that race. It's the second race he's missed this season, so he is now 251 points out of first, with me getting a max point stay, 190 points to 0. So really have extended that lead out of pretty much nowhere. And hopefully we've got the setup in it for qualifying. It feels really loose right now, I'm not going to lie. I felt snappy getting off of turn 4. Try to get used to it maybe. Feel a little better through 3 and 4 this time. 6th on lap 1. I think I slightly overdrove it a bit there through 1 and 2. A little loose off. I don't think I'm going to get the pole. I didn't get it yesterday either, despite leading the most laps. Led all but 12 laps, but I qualified 7th. Today we're going to qualify 6th, so lap 1 looked to be the quickest of the two. And for the second straight night, no pole. Bo Phillips, the driver who sits second in the point standings, will qualify on the pole. I'm going to make an adjustment here. Going to try dropping the air pressure. I'm going to be aggressive dropping that air pressure. I'm going to drop it a lot. Add a little bit more downforce. I guess with adding that much downforce, won't go quite as aggressive. Keep the wedge the same. I don't want the truck to be too tight, especially starting on the outside. Don't want to put myself in the wall in the first lap or two. All right, making some adjustment changes from the qualifying session into the race. Green flag in the air. Bo Phillips leads the field with the green at Bristol. And Musgrave able to get to the bottom on this opening lap. Had to give up a spot to Bobby Hamilton to do so, but at least was able to get to the inside. And a couple trucks 2x2 in front of him will try to take advantage. Phillips leads the opening lap of the race. Musgrave trying to go for 4 wins in a row and sweep the week. It's Chris Parker, who's had a few solid runs this week as well. He's the only other driver to lead in that last race of the Dodge Raceway other than Musgrave. Bobby Hamilton from 7th to 3rd in just these first couple laps. How about that? But he's about to get passed for 3rd by Musgrave. Way too much of the asphalt. Oh, but a big hit off the wall on the outside of turn 2. That'll help Musgrave, who overdrove the corner by a ton, but not as badly as Hamilton in that outer lane. So clear for 3rd. Now we can let it rip. Got all the racetrack. A little bit of spacing. Bill Lester putting pressure on Phillips at the front of the field. Lester's not won yet this season. We're down to just 8 races to go in the season championship after tonight. Excuse me. Stu Isaac, Ryan Berwick, Wade, thanks for tuning in. I'm sure Lester would like to, with that contact. And he's going for the lead. And Musgrave's going to take him 3 wide at Bristol. It's going to get tight. What a move if Musgrave pulls this off. Lester does not lead a lap in that transition. Bill Lester to the lead. A 3 wide move at Bristol. For the lead. It's a short race, but still the opening laps. And Phillips gets right back into 2nd. I don't think Lester saw that coming. And first lap after taking the lead, Musgrave runs his fastest lap of the race with the clean air. Definitely feels better than it did in qualifying. It's still a little free, but loose as fast if he can hang on to it. And at least for the short run, I'll be able to hang on to it. We'll see how much the tires might fall off over the course of a long run. I'll tell you what, man, I made that 3-wide move look smooth. Just kind of grazing those left sides down on that black asphalt just a bit. Got the truck to turn. Clean 3-wide pass at Bristol. Short tracks are the bread and butter for Musgrave this season. All but one of his wins have come on a short track, the other on the lone road course race of the season at Old Spice Speedway, and that might stand as the only road course race of the year as well. It's been a dominating week. He's led the most laps and won the race in all 3 of these short track races we've had this week on the schedule, but we go right back to the intermediates in our next race at Las Vegas. So again, trying to grow this points lead out as much as we can before we get into the tough stretch of the season to finish things out. Vegas, Dega, the next 2 races, just got to execute tonight and take what we can get at the next 2 racetracks. Then we'll have another short track at Martinsville after Talladega. And then we'll finish the season off with 4 races, I believe, on intermediate tracks to round out the season. And quite a few field passes coming up in this one. Completely forgot to do it yesterday, and that's because the 2 days before that we weren't able to do it. With Todd Bodine blowing an engine in the first 2 races this week, IRP as well as Red Bull Raceway. John Fleming, thanks for tuning in. Oh yeah, it's Bristol, baby. Truck feels great. Really starting to get that pull-away speed. Put down a 15.7 that last lap. Fastest of the race. Bit loose off turn 4. Pushed a little too hard there. It does feel like it's a bit more looser in 3 and 4 than it is in turns 1 and 2 for some reason. Especially off the exit of the corner. It was pretty snappy off of 4 in qualifying, which is why I wasn't able to lay down a good lap to get the pole. Despite taking the lead in less than 10 laps after starting 6th. Yeah, I'm lucky that the short tracks all fell consecutively like this. I'm also lucky Phillips missed a race last night, because otherwise we'd go into the tough stretch of the season with less than a 100-point lead. Phillips is running second again, and not to mention, Phillips, although he missed last night's race, the first 2 races this week at Red Bull and IRP, he finished second to me. And he led laps at Red Bull. He led laps already tonight at Bristol, and he may finish second again running there after qualifying on the pole. He's putting up a fight for the championship. You just wonder if he didn't miss those 2 races. I don't know that I would be in the best position to win the title. I probably wouldn't even be in the points lead if he didn't miss both races. It'd be pretty close. And pretty close going into a tough portion of the schedule for me after tonight. Well, I should say after New Hampshire. We go to New Hampshire next and then Vegas. I actually forgot about New Hampshire being the next track. So I might get 5 in a row at New Hampshire. After New Hampshire, then we get into the tough portion of the schedule where we only have 1 more short track out of the last 7. The rest are intermediates and or super speedway at Talladega, which I haven't been great on with these EA Sports games. So, yeah, we'll see. What do I think about football tonight? Bucks and Falcons. I actually didn't realize who was playing tonight until right before the start of the stream when I realized I haven't set my fantasy lineups yet. And I'm like, oh, I might want to check to make sure I don't have anybody playing tonight. I don't have anybody playing tonight, so. As far as the game itself, I mean, I would expect the Bucks to win, but Thursday Night Football, I feel like, well, most primetime games in general, I feel like the games are more competitive. Even if it's, you know, maybe not as good of a team versus a good team or vice versa. Especially with Thursday nights when it tends to be a short week. I know there was a blowout a couple of weeks ago with the Bills and Dolphins, but Tua also got hurt in that game, so I'm not going to. You know, assuming everybody stays healthy, I would imagine it'll probably be a competitive game, but yeah, I would take Tampa. They've definitely looked like the better team so far this season, from what I've seen. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Had to get out of the gas there. Scraped the wall a couple corners ago, too. Speaking of scraping the wall, I just saw somebody at the tail end of the field scraping the wall through 3 and 4. Lost a little bit of my lead. I almost wonder if Phillips is holding up the trucks behind him. Lester passed him, but then we took Lester 3 wide with Phillips to get to the lead, so he wasn't able to really stay in front of Phillips. Phillips got back around him, and you wonder if the 22 truck might be fast enough to compete with the 9 and not necessarily that 191. Derek Booth, I hope so. Tigers won the World Series. I really hope so. Be the last of my favorite sports franchises, teams, NASCAR, whatever you know, take it. Last that I've never seen win a championship, so I'm ready. In fact, I would have knocked out 3 of them in one calendar year with Blaney winning the championship last year. Michigan Wolverines winning a championship, football-wise. I guess they haven't won an Natty with basketball. The other collegiate sports I don't really watch as much, but I've seen them at least make it to the Final Four on a few different times in recent years, but I guess they haven't won a championship there. Yeah, I'm ready. It's not impossible. About to catch lap traffic for the first time as we're nearly 50 laps into this race. Caution free so far. We had just 1 yellow at the Dodge Raceway Stadium track yesterday, and that caution came out with about 22 or so laps to go. We restarted with 19 laps left. It was a debris yellow. And the race before that at IRP went caution free. That was our second caution free race of the season at that point. Back-to-back fastest laps of the race, dropping into those 15 low 7s. So we'll see what Musgrave can do in lap traffic as he has caught it now for the first time. And unless we end up getting a caution, he's going to maintain in lap traffic for pretty much the rest of this race. First 4 trucks, so far so good. Clean passes on all of them. He stretched his lead out to about 1 second. Should be a 1 pit stop race pretty easily as well, as all these short track races this week have been. No major pressure with the fuel in most of these races. IRP, the only one that was remotely close, but because we were able to make it 100 laps in that first run, I felt pretty good that we were going to make it 100 on the last, and we did. We are at lap 50 right now. Don't think Phillips was holding anybody up. Is he pulling away? Yeah, I guess he's only 2 trucks behind us now. He was getting through lap traffic pretty well, it looked. Just got to halfway out of gas. I mean, I guess we're not going to be able to go very far past lap 100. Oh. Truck to our outside, got a little loose in the center of 3 and 4, made contact with my right rear. That could have been really, really bad. And very next corner, I hit the wall. I'll just take our first field pass. Todd Bodine in 15th. As of right now, maybe with the extra field passes tonight, because of not having them the whole week before that, maybe we can drive this 30 truck into the top 10 at some point. I think I'm still just going to take the 2. I'm just going to drive a little longer during both of them, what I usually would. I'll just do 8 laps on both of these runs with Bodine tonight. Yeah, it was too much apron. Got him a bit loose. What's the track that screws up the fuel mileage? I don't know. It was just the Busch Series races at Talladega was pretty bad. It varies, because the other series there are fine, and then the Cup Series at Phoenix, they pit early. The AI does, but you can go a full fuel run. Musgrave continues to lead at the front of the field. Todd Bodine up to 12th. Couple more positions right there in front of him. Oh. Kind of shoved that truck up in front of him past the 110. Bodine makes the pass there for 11th. Oh, we got trouble. Off of turn 2. One truck down on the bottom of the racetrack entering turn 3. No caution for that. Stream of smoke down the back straightaway. That was somebody in the top 10. I don't think it was a lap truck yet. I don't think lap trucks have been approached by anybody this deep in the field at this moment. Bodine passes Chapman now for 9th on the racetrack. Wow, 15.698. First 15.6 of the night. That truck we just passed was the one that got up against the wall off turn 2 a few laps ago. This run Todd Bodine's got. If he doesn't get a top 10 with me driving him this far through the field, something's wrong with the driver, not the truck at this point. I mean, we have the same equipment, and I'm leading in points, and he isn't. And that doesn't say anything as it is. Got a little more than 8 laps this run, but Bodine continues to make passes. That was the first lap truck he just passed. He's right behind Ron Hornaday as we'll swap back to Ted Musgrave. Musgrave continues to lead at Bristol Motor Speedway, as he has since about lap 8 to now, consecutively. He has led nearly 60 laps in a row. Berwick is a New York Yankees fan. Well, I think you're the team to beat in the AL. I will say, from what I've seen on, looking at different stuff with, baseball, with my Tigers, just to see what, other analysts in the sport of the MLB, MLB Network people or whatever, are saying about the Tigers themselves. I will say, in the comment section, there's a lot of Yankees fans that feel that they're getting a little too confident, that they're straight up going to go to the World Series. Well, I do think that they were the favorite to go to the World Series beforehand, and the Astros getting taken out. I don't think the Astros were the second best team going into the... Well, okay, they were the second best team, but they weren't the second best team by a lot. And I really do think Detroit was probably the third best team coming into the playoffs just because of how hot they are. And I know they're super young, but the pitching is that damn good, and full display of that in just that short 2-game series at Houston. Just watch him get cocky and then... Why is Bodine good on field? Well, technically we're good on field too. Honestly, he might not have been pushing as hard as what we were when we were driving as him, so maybe that's why he's as good on fuel as he is. I'm hoping we're not the first truck on the pit road. We'll loose out of turn 2. About as loose as I've been so far during this first run of the race. Bodine still hasn't hit halfway out of gas. Well, now he has. Just hit halfway out of gas right at lap 75 at the line. So, yeah, he's definitely way short. He's going to be like 50, 51, 52 laps short of being able to make it the whole race, which I didn't think anybody was going to be anywhere close to making it the whole race anyway. And he was keeping his distance behind Hornaday even while we weren't driving as him, so that was good for him. Makes the slide job pass by the lap truck into 3 and 4. Same thing the corner before that. 4th position on Ron Hornaday. Bodine 3.8 seconds off of his race-leading teammate, Ted Musgrave. But one of the better runs of the year Todd Bodine has had here tonight at Bristol. Yeah, he was still in the green. It'll be interesting to see, when exactly he pits. My guess is just because he wasn't pushing anywhere near as hard as us. I don't know where he started. It wasn't in front of us, at least, and we started 6th. That was a lap truck. Oh, I overdrove it right into the side of T. Johnson. Yeah, he's upset with me. He has every right to be. He was about to just try to wreck Bodine right in the middle of the corner. Todd gets away from him. And hopefully he stays away from him as Bodine has lost the lead all of a sudden. Falls to 3rd. And I believe Chris Parker's out in front of the field for the first time tonight. A crossover move on Hamilton for 2nd. That was our last field pass of the night, though, so we'll go straight forward here. Musgrave only had about a 1-second lead at the most. So Phillips is falling back in the running order a bit. He's at least not in the top 3 anymore. And he did lead the first 7-8 laps or so from the pole. So again, he has received 5 bonus points. Parker looking to get by the lap truck in the 135. Musgrave has a run. A little contact to the back bumper. Just letting him know we're there. Imagine Musgrave's still got the fastest truck. So he tries to make a pass, squeezes to the inside, off turn 4. Doesn't lead that lap of the line, but should lead the next lap as he uses the 47 truck of Craig Kinzer as a pick. And passes both trucks cleanly through 1 and 2. And Parker will do the same. Chris Parker trying to go for his 3rd win of the season here today. Knock that 151 truck up into the wall. Whoops. I gotta go. Parker's right there. Can't mess around. I think Musgrave was definitely running a slower pace when we were driving as Todd Bodine. And he was able to back a little bit of extra fuel up for about those 20 laps or so altogether that we ran as Bodine. Not sure exactly how much fuel we saved. We initially hit the halfway mark right at lap 52, which, again, would have been good to go the race on one stop easily still. But I think we're going to be able to extend this first run out even more as we just dropped our fastest lap. 15.694, I believe. Or was it an 8.4? It was quick. I'll say that much. Been in contact here and there, passing lap trucks, but nowhere near as much as what we were having at the Dodge Raceway yesterday. Tight confines at Bristol, not as tight as that racetrack. We saw AI trucks moving each other the whole race too, and really saw that the night before that, even at IRP as well. We had a near crash off turn 2 earlier in this race, right around the lap 60 to lap 70 marker. There's a light wall scrape by Musgrave, and another one. Truck's still driving all right. Tires obviously have faded from where they once were. 95 laps on them. Not necessarily slipping and sliding around the racetrack, but to hold grip corner after corner, not as easy as it was at the beginning of the run. We'll have to deal with this one more time knowing it's a one-stop race. Yeah. And we've got some trucks short pitting on their way in right now. Obviously, again, the plan is to stay out of the pits as long as we can. Remember, we did have a caution in the middle of green flag stops at the Red Bull Raceway a couple races ago. More prone to happening on these short tracks on NASCAR 07. Really, the EA games in general that we have played thus far, 04 through 07. Contact at Bristol's the Bristol Hill Hub. Yeah, this is definitely old Bristol. Rapid around the bottom. Couple trucks making contact, leaving pit road, and I think Bo Phillips, the truck on the outside of that. I got a little loose off turn 2. Oh man, I was fighting that all the way down the straightaway. And all the way into that next corner. I was trying to put Phillips another lap down, and I was really trying to push it on the high side, and then when I got to the high side into 3, I didn't have any grip up there. Oh, way too fast for that lane. Alright, Bodine down on pit road, so he wasn't going to try to run it as long as he could, because we know he definitely could have went further. Still continue to stay green. Splitting trucks right now, one on the outside. Oh man, that was tight getting into 3. Thought we were going to be 3 wide middle there for a second. It was pretty close to being that way. And just enough room to the outside. So I needed that extra concrete to be able to run up the racetrack. Still got trucks cycling on and off of pit road, and again, Musgrave going to go as far as he can. Will contact nearly between Hamilton and the 187 truck. I saw the 187 bounce off the wall to the exit of turn 2. That was while he was side by side with the 18, but he did keep it off the 18, luckily. Go a couple more laps. 1 lap lead on the field as Musgrave has not pitted yet. And our pit box is on the front stretch, with the 2 separate pit lanes, obviously, here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Got loose off 4, still ran a 15.661. And again, still on old tires, a lot of contact. This 178 truck. Try to squeeze by. Truck's rolling. I said at the start of the stream, loose is fast if you can hang on to it. Say for the most part, we're able to hang on to it. I'm going to pit this lap. Well, we'll be pitting going into turn 3. Taking it as far as we can go. And it'll be a 91 lap stretch on tires at the end of the race from there. No adjustments, 4 tires and fuel for Musgrave. And the lone stop of the race is upon us. In our final NASCAR 07 race of the week. Live commentary content for the Talladega NASCAR action this weekend will begin tomorrow afternoon. 4:30 p.m. Eastern will be the start of that Truck Series race at Dega. 85 laps. We'll have the full flag-to-flag coverage for you right here on the channel. Doubleheader Saturday with Cup no practice this week, excuse me. Cup qualifying at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday afternoon, followed by the Xfinity race at 4 p.m. Eastern, also Saturday afternoon. And, of course, our Cup Series coverage is going to begin at 2 p.m. on Sunday. $90 to go. And slightly losing the lead out of the pits, staying out as long as we did. Here's Parker, who had cycled back into the race lead. Musgrave going to get right around him after Parker leads for about a lap or 2. That was another lead change. The lap truck side by side right in front of the number 9. 15.627. We could get down into the 16.5s by the end of this thing here. Track's getting faster. As I say that wasn't a clean lap. I made contact with him and I couldn't get off of him. Like we were glued all the way down the front straightaway. Caution for the first time today, and this will bunch the field up. Sorry, David. Accidentally hit him under yellow. Somebody spun. Did contact started is the question. No, he was all on his own. Just got loose, backed it into the wall. He had contact after he hit the wall. From the 110. I can't tell what number that is. 2 fantasy drivers involved, though. Single truck spin turned into a 2-truck incident. Obviously not going to hit pit road. Everybody just pitted under green flag conditions, so got pretty much an even amount of lap cars with lead lap cars. We did cycle all the way through green flag pit stops, so maintain a lot of trucks on the lead lap. Green flag is back in the air. I had a chance to get down low, and I didn't take it. Now a little contact with Peters. Back-to-back corners up against the wall. This is tight. 3 wide off the exit of the corner. Fight for the bottom, and finally Musgrave gets there. Struggled in that restart. The lap trucks to the inside. And going for the lead off turn 4, down to the bottom. Trying to pick Parker behind Peters. I'm way too low. That didn't work. Really loose, hanging on to second. Darnell lap truck on the outside stays high. So Chris Parker leading now, about 79 laps to go at Bristol. One lap truck got out ahead of these leaders on the restart. Drove away initially. Musgrave going back for the lead again and has it. Watch Tom Bodine not finish in the top 10. Watch her just lose a bunch of spots on this restart. Thus not driving as him the rest of the race. Running 6th earlier. I don't expect anybody to pit the rest of this race, no matter how many more yellows we get. I'm definitely not pitting. I'm not giving up that track position. I saw the line of lap cars and the line of lead lap cars under the caution period from that different camera angle they had, and there were more lead lap trucks than lap trucks. Not by much, only by a couple. It's pretty even. There's probably 20, 21 lead lap trucks, if I had to imagine, on the racetrack right now. The rest are a lap down. So despite going about 120 laps into this race caution-free, still didn't even lap half the field. So a pretty competitive field from top to bottom, it seems like, here today at Bristol. We know we've got the fastest truck, but it isn't by as much as it's been the last couple days. Although the laps led by the end of this thing is probably going to say otherwise, because we've already clinched the most laps led. So again, bonus point performance for the 4th consecutive race now. Now can Musgrave capitalize and make it 4 consecutive wins? It's going to be a minute before we get back into lap traffic again. It took almost 50 laps at the start of the race, so we're probably going to catch them with about 30 laps to go or so. Especially with the field mostly doubled up initially on that restart. With the even amount of lap cars, lead lap cars, it's going to be just like it was at the start of the race. Although that restart a little more chaotic than what the initial start was. I think Parker's definitely a lot quicker than anybody else that we've seen behind us, because we're getting away from the field other than him. He's hanging around. And we hadn't seen him up around the lead up until the green flag pit stop cycling when he had taken the lead briefly. And that is how he has gotten track position in today's race. Just kind of hanging around. We'll see when we get into lap traffic how things will shake out. Might see the game Saturday. Not much of it. Got Cup qualifying going on right around the start. Luckily, it's only qualifying and practice, with it not taking place this weekend. It should get done somewhat earlier. It's going to be close on whether it's going to be done before the start of the Xfinity race or not, because the Xfinity race starts at 4. I've noticed these playoff games have gone longer than the regular season games have gone, which I expected, because I figured there'd be more ads played throughout the course of the game. So, it's going to be close on whether it's going to be done or not in time. But yeah, I'm definitely going to miss the first half of the game. Maybe a little more than half. Hopefully catch the last hour, hour and a half of it. And luckily, they have off Sunday, which I'm surprised. I don't know why they have off after game one. Because I always remembered before where they would play basically the homestand back-to-back, and then they would have the day off before they would obviously go to Detroit. And then I did see that those games are back-to-back, but for some reason game one and game two isn't back-to-back. I don't know why they're not. I think it is for the National League, but it's not for the American League. Because I'm pretty sure the National League is playing Saturday, Sunday. I don't know where Phillips is at exactly. Assuming that was the question you asked. He qualified on the pole. He led laps early. Once we got so far into that green flag run, I noticed he wasn't in the top three anymore. I don't know where he was after that. Don't know where he was at the time of that last restart. With a little less than 80 laps left. So, yeah, I don't have any idea where he's running. It doesn't look like he's going to finish second in his third consecutive start behind us, though. Assuming that we get the win. 53 laps to go still. Got to continue to do our job. Rather 50 laps to go. This time by at the line. I think this could be our second race less than an hour this week. Unless we get a flurry of cautions here in the late going. I don't know what time I started this race because I did qualifying on the stream and I usually don't. So I don't know exactly what time we started the race, but it's only 7:49 now. We started the stream about 5 after 7, so this is a quick one. As all these short track races are with the Truck Series. The race in real life for the Truck Series at Bristol a couple weeks ago was only an hour and 20 minutes. Same length, 200 laps. Summer Bristol race has always been like that for the Truck Series. I think the only reason the spring race is 250 instead of 200 is because they usually don't have two races at Bristol, so they, for one, probably tried to have a variant in length of the race. Two, there was only two races at Bristol that weekend. It was a Truck and Cup. And Xfinity was off, so that's also another reason why that race was probably a little longer in the spring. Somebody blowing up on the bottom of the racetrack, out of the way though, and we'll get to pit road probably on the front stretch. I don't think they pitted on the back straightaway there. Couldn't tell what fantasy driver that was exactly. Second driver to blow an engine during this current green flag run. Not sure if anybody did on the first green flag run or not. And we are down to 43 laps to go, a second and a half lead. It took about 20 or so laps into the run before Musgrave started to pull away from Parker, but he has done it, and we'll see if he can continue to do it once he gets into lap traffic in about a dozen laps or so. maybe less. If you look at that track map and you really look at the trucks ahead of us, that is heavy lap traffic, about as heavy as it has been all race. $40 to go, trying to execute. I said initially when we restarted we catch them with about 30 to go. It seems like it might be the case. We're creeping in on them slowly but surely. Just got to hope that they all keep it together up there and don't cause another crash. Luckily, we're nowhere near the first one, but we've seen some big ones at Bristol before. Somebody turned down the racetrack into the inside wall and they come back up. A blind spot going into the corner and everybody piles in. We'll hope that nothing like that happens. Still a lot of trucks in front of us, but it does look like they thinned out a little bit from where they were a few laps ago. Initially, there was like 3 or 4 groups that were side by side. It doesn't even look like anybody side by side for the first 8 to 10 trucks in front of us at the moment. Who knows, we still could have a mix of lead lap trucks battling trucks that are already a lap down back here too. Hard telling without the live leaderboard.
Go ahead and get on by. He's not gonna block.
See, that already wasn't clean. And a low contact on quarter exit, I got really loose. Made contact with him in a bad spot for me. Corner exit, right off the transition from the banking to the flat of the straightaways. That's where the truck has been the lightest. And the few moments that I have gotten loose in the race, so having the contact at that point definitely didn't help it. See the 04 truck, Scott Legacy Jr. back here. He's 9th in the point standings. Continues to climb during that summer stretch of the schedule. Curious to see if he still stays in the top 10 in points after tonight. Hard telling if he was already a lap down or not. Three-second lead, one of the largest of the race for Ted Musgrave. Oh, and there's the trouble. Up turn 2, no caution. Slides the tires into 3. I was hard on the brakes late. I was trying to clear as many trucks as I could. Getting in. That was a life flashing before the eyes moment, and got through it. No caution, we stay green. It's Tingen in the 126 truck. Got a bit sideways. Is it me, or does it seem like of all the fantasy trucks that tend to have an issue right around me all the time, I feel like that 126 truck of Tingen, more often than not, is like making contact with the truck in front of me, or, you know, right there, he almost got turned off of the exit of turn 2. It's always something. I was able to put a lot of lap trucks between ourselves and second place Chris Parker, so that's good. Although the lead dropped a little bit below 3 seconds, there's more trucks he has to pass to get to us now. A huge bulk of that lap traffic that was in front of us we were able to pass, all but this 187 truck getting into the corner. So it's right back up to a 3-second lead again. 23 to go this time by. Just really hoping this thing stays green to the finish, because that last restart, we lost the lead for a few laps. Especially with the lap trucks underneath us, it makes it really difficult to try to get back to the bottom quicker than the trucks behind us. Number 187 going a lap down. Here's David Reagan in the 6. Viper and Mustang, thanks for tuning in. Well, this isn't... Well, I guess by laps led percentage, it's kind of Larson level dominance, but Parker's got a good short run truck. We really need this to stay green. Like I said, we lost the lead for a handful of laps on the last restart, so I don't want a caution to come out here. We nearly had one right in front of us. That would have been just terrible if we just piled into that. I was so low and like so on throttle, way deeper than I needed to be into 3, and I really slid the tires getting in there, almost wrecked doing that, but I was just trying to get by as many of those trucks as I could before getting back up onto the racetrack. It worked out though. I didn't make contact with anybody, so got through there cleanly. It's going to be 4 wins in a row for Musgrave. Get the win total to 7, 2 above Phillips. Again, the reason for the large points lead, no, this is not rookie mode. But Phillips has missed 2 races this season, including the last race yesterday at Dodge Raceway. And we had a max points day, so happened to be in that race with a win. As a result, we went from a 61-point lead to a 251-point lead, 190 points to 0. So that is why the points lead is as massive as it is. And the later go into the season, as we have just 8 races to go after tonight. And the bulk of that schedule will be coming up next week. And we have one more favorable track for us in this stretch at New Hampshire. And the next one after that, it's going to be a grind to the end of the season. Intermediates and short tracks taking up 6 of the, intermediates, super speedway, taking up 6 of the last 7 races of the season. And that has been the weak point for us all year. We haven't won on either one of those disciplines of racetracks. We finished outside the top 13, 14th or worse, in 3 of the last 4 intermediate track races. And we finished outside the top 20 in 2 of those, Michigan 21st, and outside the top 20 at Rockingham as well. Daytona early in the season, we finished 30th. Dega's coming up in 3 races, so it's gonna be a grind. And I know I've got a 251-point lead, but there's gonna be some races in there we're not gonna have a lot of speed, and we just got to salvage a 15th, 20th place finish. You know, it would help obviously if Phillips has an off night somewhere in there. Maybe he misses another race. I don't know. If he does that, then I feel like we'll have it on lock regardless. But he's missed so many races now, though. The thing is, Chris Parker's like right there. Parker might be second in points after this race. He was only 20 points behind him coming in. Both those two have led laps. Parker's in second for all I know right now, and I don't know where Phillips is. I haven't seen him in the top 3 since the first third of this race, so it might be possible that Parker could be racing us for the championship, or maybe a 3-horse race, depending on how things go again when we get back those intermediate tracks. But I knew this week was an easy schedule for us. Had to take advantage of it. And couldn't have done any better. 4 straight max points days. 4 straight wins. Assuming these last 7 continue to go Musgrave's way. Largest lead of the day right now. 4.7, 4.8 seconds. I think the largest lead in that first green flag run was about 3.5 seconds through the first 120 laps. I see Todd Bodine tail end of the lead lap up there. I know he was on the lead lap earlier, so I'd assume he still is now. Not sure if that truck behind him is for position or not. I bet he doesn't finish in the top 10, even though I drove him up to 6th in the first half of the race. Hopefully that wasn't another spot he lost. I'm hoping to get to top 10 points finish. I just don't think it's going to happen. There's 2 engine failures in the first 2 races this week. That definitely wasn't good for him. Three to go this time by. Always good to win at Bristol, my favorite track. Favorite since I was a kid. Favorite to go to on a regular basis. Cool place. Cool place, cool race. 5-second lead now, 2 laps left. Plenty good on fuel to the end, obviously. We knew that. When we pitted, actually had to make a green flag stop at the first 120 laps going caution free. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. More wins this week alone than we had the entire first 13 races to start the season before that. Unbelievable streak. 4 in a row for Ted Musgrave. We're getting hot at the right time, just like my Detroit Tigers. The only difference is there's no playoff format with this, so we still gotta grind this out, but we're in a good spot. We're putting ourselves in the best situation possible for when we get into the tough stretch of the season next week, so I'll be ready for it. Nice win. And I don't think there's any rain in the forecast for the Talladega races this weekend. So this will be the last NASCAR 07 race until Monday. Unless for some reason we had a rain out the next 3 days, then we would have a NASCAR 07 stream in replacement of the live commentary, and then do the live commentary whenever the race is going to happen. But yeah, another dominating lap sled by way of... another dominating race by way of lap sled. Margin of victory, 5.3 seconds. 56 minutes, 5 seconds total time on this race. I believe the quickest one we've had this year. I think we had 58 minutes. What was it, yesterday? It was under an hour at Dodge Raceway. I think there was one other race this week that was under an hour. I think it was last night, but I think that was 58. So this 56 minutes, 1 caution in both of those races. Again, that came out. We restarted with about 79 laps to go here today. 114.03 mile per hour average race speed, 12 lead changes, most of those during green flag pit stops. And then obviously at the start of the race where Bo Phillips led the first 6 laps, we took the lead at lap 7, led for a while. Chris Parker led a couple different times for 10 laps. We battled for the lead on that lone restart. He also cycled out of the pits in the lead following the green flag stops. Got to the lead at one point as well during the field swap when we went back to Bodine for about 15, 16 laps or so, and then we got back to the lead. So that's where all those lead changes took place. 183 laps led for us. Chris Parker, 10 laps led, finishing second. Bill Lester, third. No laps led. As I mentioned, Bo Phillips started on the pole, led the first 6 laps. He finishes in 4th, so we didn't see him for the rest of the day, but he finished 4th, so still a solid top 5 for him. It's going to be close with Parker, but I believe he is still going to be 10 points ahead of Parker for second. And we're going to expand our points lead. If I do my math correctly here, he would have gotten 5 bonus points. So I think we gained 20 points on him today. So we're going to be 271 up, I believe. Hans Good, top 5, finishing 5th. Ron Hornaday, 6th. 7th for Bobby Hamilton Sr. Art Clausen in 8th. W. Tucker, 9th. And Art Cleveland in 10th rounds out the top 10. Our teammate Todd Bodine, last truck of the lead lap in 13th. I told you he was going to fumble a top 10 finish. I did what I could. I ran 16 laps with him earlier in the race on 2 separate occasions. And I got him up to 6th just for him to fall back to 13th and almost fall a lap down by the end of it. He's lucky that caution came out. Otherwise, he probably would have fallen further back in the leader board. But because he was the last truck in the lead lap there at the end, it kind of bailed him out. Obviously, he didn't lead any laps as far as DNFs. Only 3 of them. Marvin Sheth, which is Phillips' teammate, blew a motor at lap 28 early in the race, and then those 2 during that last green flag run to blow an engine was Jay Ships and W. Irving at lap 138, lap 156. So those are the 3 DNFs here today. I will take it, man. 4 wins in a row. Like I said, the short tracks are my specialty on this game. We've seen that across all 3 series time and time again. Put me on a short track, we're going to have more than likely the dominant vehicle of the night. I don't always win. You know, sometimes we get a late caution that kind of doesn't go our way, or in the middle of green flag pit stops that traps us a lap down or something weird like that because it is a short track. But outside of, you know, just raw speed, we're usually the one to beat. Kind of a long race at New Hampshire in the next one, 200 laps. That's a long truck race at that track. That's as long as what the Xfinity races are. I thought the truck races were only 150 here. Or like 125, 150, I don't know, whatever the case. We got 200 laps coming up at New Hampshire. But then after that, back to the 1.5 miles at Vegas, Super Speedway at Dega, and then that last short track race at Martinsville after that. And I believe that Easy Care 200 is back at Atlanta for a second race there. I think Atlanta we go to yet, Texas, Homestead for sure. I think Phoenix, potentially Phoenix. Phoenix could be a good race for us too. That's one of my better tracks on this game. New Hampshire and Phoenix. They're kind of up there in that top 5 for me on my best tracks on this game. So, got 3 winnable races. I mean, they're all winnable in the grand scheme of things. If we're in it, we have a shot to win. You know, I never count myself out, but 3 very winnable races. The other 5, we're going to have to grind. Just because we haven't had the fastest vehicles on those style of racetracks all season. So, finished 30th. Or, sorry, Daytona. Daytona finished 6th. Or finished 30th, led 6 laps. California Speedway led 1 lap, finished 4th. Atlanta led 5 laps, finished 2nd. Next intermediate track, Charlotte, finished 2nd, but only led 2 laps. Took me the whole race to get up there. And then 4th at Dover, led 7 laps. 14th at Texas, led 2. Michigan didn't lead a single lap, finished 21st. 2nd at Milwaukee, only led 4 laps. Led 33 at Kansas, finished 7th. That was the best 1.5 mile track we had on speed, but we still finished 7th. That was fortunate pit strategy on our side there. And really nothing we could do. The rest of the field just managed their fuel better, I guess. North Carolina Speedway or Rockingham would have been 29th place finish. Led 15 laps there. That was basically on pit strategy, where I led those 15. I knew I had to do it because I was running mid-pack like that the whole race. So it was the only way I was going to be able to get my bonus points. I made sure I got them. And then, yeah, we led over 100 laps the last 4 races en route to a win. So, to say, going into this week, I think I led 130-something laps, if I remember correctly. And now we're up over 800 laps led on the season after tonight. Actually, over 900 after tonight. And we had barely over 100 to start the week through the first 13 races. I'm telling you, that stretch of races came in good. And I'm lucky Bo Phillips missed, because Bo Phillips finished second, and 4th in the 3 races he ran. If he didn't miss a race, he'd only be around 100 points back. And if he didn't miss the race at Charlotte early in the season, that 6th race of the year too, then he would really be up here in contention, but he'd probably be in the points lead more than likely. The speed he's had this season. A lot of his wins have come on the intermediates. He won at Milwaukee. Was his last win. He won 5 of the first 11 races. 5 of 10 that he ran, considering he missed Charlotte. So 5 of the first 10 races that he ran, he won. He's ran 14 of the 16. But yeah, anyway, intermediate tracks, Bo Phillips finished 1st at Milwaukee, 1st at Texas, 1st at Dover, 1st at California, and 1st at Daytona. So the disciplined tracks that we struggle at, he's won almost every single one of those racetracks. So that's why, whatever, if we get caution, survive, restarts, which is going to be hard running mid-pack because that's usually where the squirrels are, as we know. But that's what we got to do to win this championship. And as I mentioned, Phillips only 10 points ahead of Parker. And Parker's 2 wins this season. I believe on intermediates as well. Rockingham a couple races ago before we started a streak, and he won at Charlotte, the one race that Phillips was out, one of the 2. So yeah, we'll see what he can do late as well in the season. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Live commentary for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Talladega. Again, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, a Friday afternoon race. So hopefully you can tune in for that. Full flag-to-flag coverage with my commentary and more through the weekend at Dega for the Truck Xfinity Cup Series race weekend. Hope to see you for all that action and more. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your night, everyone.